Well, peace and blessings, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of King Talk Tuesdays. I'm your host, Andy King, the show with real views, real news, and real talk. We discuss so many different topics, whether it's economics, spirituality, education, and so much more. We air every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook as well as YouTube. We also air on Fios, channel 2136, and Auto Channel 7 on Thursday evenings at 10:30 p.m. We're also on a number of streaming services such as Roku TV, Amazon Prime, Millennial TV 24, and Clash TV. I encourage all our YouTubers to subscribe to our page and King Talk Tuesdays and subscribe to our YouTube page, which is King Talk Tuesdays, so you don't miss any of our past episodes. You can also check some of our local past listings that are airing throughout the week on Optimal System and the Fios channel, and as well as our Fios and Optimal television station. So we're looking forward to you tuning in. But you know what I got to say? I want to thank everyone who's been tuning in to King Talk Tuesdays over the past 2 years. And you know what I say, right? People pay attention to people who participate. So tell a friend, tell a neighbor that King Talk Tuesdays is on, and you can drop us a comment on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel. But you can also email us with any thoughts or questions at kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com. Again, our email address is kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com. We'll be right back on King Talk Tuesdays after a message from our friends.
Welcome to Therodynamics, where we get you back to life. We offer physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. We accept all major insurances. Don't worry about an appointment. At Therodynamics, walk-ins are accepted. We have locations in the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and New Jersey. Our therapists, combined with our cutting-edge technology, will get you back to life. Visit our website at www.therodynamics.com for locations, services, and more.
Oh, yeah. If you have any challenges with your body, your knees, your eyes, your nose, whatever it is, hey, tell you what, Therodynamics is the answer for all your therapy needs. You know, we've been managing so much through this world today, but you know what I really just want to know? Oh, yeah, just really want to know what is going on. What is a lot happening? We are in the month of February, which has been ordained as Black History Month. We want to thank Carter G. Woodson for his initiative, his thought, and his value, his vision to get it started, and those presidents who've helped establish it from going from 2 weeks to a month. But more importantly, we want people to really know that Black history, our story, is more than 28 days of a calendar year. It is every day that you exist. And we have our hands and we've touched so much throughout this globe to make sure that the world and specifically America is the America great place of inventions and a great place to live. So with that being said, we want to let you know with the prideness of us, the joy and the love within us, this Friday, we're going to be bringing back what we do call Afro Day. Yeah, Afro Day. We're going to be celebrating. So we're asking all our brothers and sisters to come on out. If you can grow it, let it flow. We want to see in your best Afro sisters in your puffs, whatever it looks like for this Friday, February 10th. We're asking everyone, wherever you are, take a picture, snap it, and hashtag Afro Day 23. Afro Day, hashtag Afro Day 23. Wherever you are in the Bronx, the five boroughs, across the United States, let everybody see your fro because it's the strength, it's pride, it's love, and it's the essence of Black America. So we're looking forward to everyone wearing an afro on Afro Day this Friday. Secondly, we want to let you know that the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, the MTA, has announced the rollout of its first of a kind customer service center. 3 subway stations across the city are rolling out the new service. The agents behind these service centers are taking on new roles, including coming out of the booths to help customers learn how to use Omni, and that's OMNY, Omni, and assessing the online kiosks to help customers transition to using these digital features. Third, we want to announce that Mayor Eric Adams announced that the New York City vaccine mandate will end this Friday. I want to say it again. Mayor Eric Adams has announced that the NYC, New York City, no longer will have vaccines mandates. They'll be optional, and that's I know there's a lot of teachers and city workers who are thankful and grateful those who have lost their jobs, their employment. I pray that there is a solution because our workforce in the city of New York is struggling. That's the reality. You know, you just can't lose a large number of your workforce and think you can deliver at the same level of excellency as it has before. So I want to thank Mayor Eric Adams for pulling the city back together, being the executor and a leader that the city so desires and needs at this time. Well, as you heard me say earlier, this month, February, is quote unquote Black History Month. As we're celebrating our history and celebrating our story, there are a number of events that are happening through the course of February while people talk about who we are and the people who have done such wonderful things. And I start with the greatest black man on the planet that kicked it off for us, affectionately known as Jesus. I give him credit for bringing it all together for us. But then after that, you have the Malcolms, you have the Megans, you have the Harriets, you have the Martins, you have your mama, and you have your daddy. And we are the ones that are standing today, following in those steps. They're doing the things that make Black strong and going through whatever trials and tribulations that we've gone through throughout the globe and here on American soil to be the best that we can. So when the Father looks down on us and say, hey, job well done, my servant, we can say, yes, my Father, we did do well by your rules, your regulations, your statutes, and your commandments. With that being said, there was a group called the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program who kicked off Black History Month with a celebrating our history at Richard Green Middle School. And they celebrated something called the first. 3 individuals who were the first to ever do it. So let's take a look at what happened on February 1st at Richard Green Middle School.
As we started talking about the first to ever do it, the young lady that is joining us today is somebody, you're going to hear her bio, but she is somebody who has helped taking the city by storm. Her position no one's ever, a black person's never held this position in the city of New York. And anybody know who runs the city of New York? You said, who? Me. He said, me. Who runs the city of New York? That's right, the mayor. But you know what? The mayor is only as successful as his team. You know, every Batman has his Robin, or in this case, Batgirl. But this young lady has done it right. And she's the first ever chief advisor for the city of New York. And I want you to put your hands together as we welcome her to the stage, as I pass the mic over to Christine. Welcome to the stage, Chaplain Ingrid Lewis Martin.
A proud daughter of Barbadian and Panamanian heritage, Chaplain Lewis Martin was born and raised in Brooklyn. Prior to her role as Deputy Brooklyn Borough President, she served for more than 5 years as then State Senator Adams' senior advisor and for 7 years as his chief of staff. We celebrate you for being the first Black to ever occupy the role as chief advisor to the mayor of the city of New York. Mayor Eric Adams, whereas your commitment and dedication to serve and be a beacon to Black Americans will be noted in the history of us forever. Congratulations as we honor you on this day, February 1st, 2023.
Throughout my career as a young person, I see we have our youngest scholars, because each and every one of you in this room, you are a scholar. That's what you are. And remember that you're a scholar. Education is key and pivotal in your life. It's the most important thing. When I was in primary school, I had a wonderful educator who's going on to glory. She transitioned. Her name was Mrs. Scott. And we had Black history taught in our classrooms because we were in the gifted and talented. But as Honorable Andy King, as I call him honorable, since he is a former Congress member, he will always be honorable to me. And that is my title for him. Shared with you our history. Black history is American history. One cannot live in the United States of America and not understand and recognize Black history. It's important.
He was a former principal at Casa Middle School. He's one of us. He represents us. The first Black man to ever do it. Let's give it up for Dr. Jamal Bowman.
Okay, peace and love, y'all. It's a real pleasure and honor to be with you all this morning. I am coming to you from my office in Washington, D.C. I am in the Cannon Building, and I can't wait for you all to come here and visit me at the United States Capitol. In case you don't know what a congressperson does, so you have a mayor, you have a governor, and you have a president. Members of Congress work directly with the president to make laws for the entire country. We make federal law. And the district that I represent includes where you currently are, which is in the Northeast Bronx. It also includes southern Westchester County, Yonkers, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, and other parts of Westchester. It's an honor to serve you. I want to say it again. I serve you. It's an honor to serve you. Please be in touch with my office. Thank you, Honorable Andy King, for this incredible honor. I am humbled every day by this job. It's not an easy job. I can't believe that I'm even here doing this job. There are over 330 million people in America, only 535 members of Congress. So we are here at the federal level making law for 330 million people. So it's a big honor and big responsibility. So I thank you all so much. Love you all. Peace and love.
This young man is the first Black enlisted officer ever to serve and go to the United States Naval Aviation Academy for the United States in Florida, a graduate of DeWitt Clinton High School. He is here with us today, 92 years young. Let's put our hands together. Come on, make some noise for Brother Don, Officer Yearwood.
At the time when I joined the Navy, there was only one Black naval aviator in the entire Navy. Only one. And unfortunately, he died in November of 1950. He got killed in Korea. The second Black came through in 1951. And he decided after he won his wings, he joined the Marine Corps. When I joined the Navy, I wanted to go into naval aviation. And at that time, there was less than 150 Black enlisted men, and no women at that time. But there was only one Black enlisted person on the base that I was stationed at, and that was Pensacola, Florida, known as Softly Field.
Was such an honor to have those three. Mayor Adams has taken on the task of running the city of New York, but you're just as good as your team. And Ingalls Lewis Martin has been with them so long, and that's what you need. Someone who you can trust, someone who's smart, someone's committed, and that's Sister is. So we want to applaud her again for tackling the reins and helping Mayor Adams run the city of New York and put together the city to from whatever's broken and whatever's not broken, fix it, and recognize that they inherited whatever they inherited. They've been in office for about 2 years now. The issues that take on New York City have been long part of the Blasio administration or the Bloomberg's administration or even the Giuliani administration. So we're not going to fault our mayor for anything that that he's managing right now, but we're just thankful that he's there in this moment in time to try to put some sense to making sure the city is a better place for everyone to live and appreciate at the same time. And also for my brother Jamal Bowman, who was out in Washington, making it do what he do with the first black to represent this neighborhood. I'm so glad to have him that he was able to represent into redistricting, and they shifted him further north. That he still represents Edenwall and Wakefield, but we're still thankful that he's still in the room to have the conversation to represent the people who look like him as well. And of course, with the 92-year-old in the house, ain't nothing there but history and conversation. And he shared a lot of stuff in regards to how he had to live and how he had to sleep in the kitchen while the rest of his platoon slept in barracks because he was the only black. So that's the reality of being black in America. Some things are great, some things are ugly. But one of the great things that people don't know about black in America, don't know about America, a lot of the things that we take for granted, our inventions that people have taken credit for or don't even give us the credit for, were created by us. This is a little something that the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program, to close out the show, to talk about what would the world look like if there was no black people.
Here's the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program. Before you leave, let you know what the world would be like if there were no black people. Let's give it up for the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program.
This is a story of a little boy named Theo. He woke up one morning and asked his mom, "Mom, what if there was no black people in the world?" Well, his mom thought about it for a moment and then said, "Son, follow me around today and let's just see what it would be if there were no black people in the world." Mom said, "Now, go get dressed and we will get started."
Theo ran to his room to put on his clothes and shoes. His mother took one look at him and said, "Theo, where are your shoes? And those clothes are all wrinkled, son. I must iron them." However, when she reached for the ironing board, it was no longer there.
You see, Sarah Boone, a black woman, invented the ironing board, and Jan E. Matzelinger, a black man, invented the shoe lasting machine.
"Oh, well," she said, "please go and do something to your hair." Theo ran to his room to comb his hair, but the comb was not there. You see, Walter Simmons, a black man, invented the comb. Theo decided to just brush his hair, but the brush was gone. You see, Lydia O. Newman, a black female, invented the brush.
Well, this was a sight. No shoes, wrinkled clothes. Even Mom's hair was a mess without the hair invention of Mother C. Walker. Well, you get the picture.
Mom told Theo, "Let's do our chores around the house and then go to the grocery store." Theo's job was to sweep the floors. He swept and swept and swept. But when he reached for the dustpan, it was not there. You see, Lloyd P. Ray, a black man, invented the dustpan. Theo then decided he wanted to mop the floors. But when he went for the mop, it was gone. You see, Thomas W. Stewart, a black man, invented the mop. Theo yelled to his mom, "Mom, I'm not having any luck."
Mom asked Theo to go get a pencil and some paper to prepare their list for the market. So Theo ran for the pencil and paper, but noticed the pencil was lead. The pencil lead was broken. Well, he was out of luck because John Love, a black man, invented the pencil sharpener. Mom reached for the pen, but it was not there because William Purvis, a black man, invented the fountain pen. As a matter of fact, Lee Burridge invented the typewriting machine and W.A. Lovett the advanced printing press. Theo and his mother decided just to head out to the market.
Well, Theo opened the door. He noticed that the grass was as high as he was tall. You see, John Burr, a black man, invented the lawnmower. They made their way over to the car and noticed that the car wouldn't go. You see, Richard Spikes, a black man, invented the automatic gear shift. And Joseph Gamel invented the supercharged system for internal combustion engines. They also noticed that a few cars were moving and running into each other, causing wrecks. because there was no traffic signals. You see, Garrett A. Morgan, a black man, invented traffic lights.
Well, it was getting late, so they walked to the market, got their groceries, and returned home. Just when they were about to put away the milk, eggs, and butter, they noticed the refrigerator was gone. You see, Jen Standard, a black man, invented the refrigerator, so they just left it on the counter.
By this time, Theo noticed he was getting mighty cold. Mom went to go turn up the heat, and what do you know, Alice Parker, a black female, invented the heating furnace. Even in the summertime, they will be out of luck because Frederick Jones, a black man, invented the air conditioner.
It was almost time for Theo's father to arrive home. He usually takes the bus, but there was no bus because its precursor was the electric trolley, invented by another black man, Albert R. Robinson. He usually takes the elevator from his office on the 20th floor, but there was no elevator because Alexander Miles, a black man, invented the elevator.
He also usually dropped off the office mail at a nearby mailbox, but it was no longer there because Philip Downing, a black man, invented the letter drop mailbox. And William Barry invented the postmarking and canceling machine.
Theo and his mother sat at the kitchen table with their heads in their hands. When the father arrived, he asked, "Why are you sitting in the dark?" Why? Because Lewis Howard Latimer, a black man, invented the filament within the light bulb.
Theo quickly learned more about what it would be like if there were no black people in the world, especially if he was sick and ever needed blood. Dr. Charles Drew, a black scientist, found a way to preserve and store blood, which led to his first starting of the blood bank.
Well, if a family member had to have heart surgery, this will not be possible without Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, a black doctor who performed the first open heart surgery.
So if you ever wonder, like Theo, where would we be without black people? Well, it's pretty plain to see. We would still
be in the dark.
All right. So we want to thank you all today for allowing us to share a little bit of our story, which is your story. I want to thank Principal Joseph Biernock and all the team at LOT, Principal Neer and everyone from NBA. But more importantly, let's give it up for the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program. Y'all have a wonderful day. Enjoy your lunch. Have fun. And thank you and congratulations.
Well, that's the kind of day it was there at Richard R. Green Middle School. As 500 students packed the auditorium to learn a little bit about their story, our story. And they were eager to learn. And we ran a video, and we're going to be doing more of that. I had the privilege a few years back to going to the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C. If you get an opportunity to do so, please visit that museum. I did not know it existed. I happened to stumble upon it looking for a venue to host an event years back. And after visiting and meeting the curator, I learned so much that was never taught in the history books, especially when it came to the victory of the North and who actually won the battle. And if it wasn't for the black soldiers that were recruited, Lincoln and the North would have lost the war. And they don't tell you this story. They tell you about everybody else who had a hand in the war, whether it was General Grant, but they talked about Lincoln, but they never told you about the hundreds of soldiers that they had to recruit because they were getting their butt whipped by the South. When they recruited these brothers, then they came in, took over, kicked butt, took over the Virginia Commonwealth, where the South was stationed, and pitched the tent and pitched the flag, and the war was won by black troops. I'm going to be sharing that video as much as I can to let people know. And when the students walked out of there, I asked, what is the one thing you learned out of it? They said, Lincoln didn't free the slaves, because that's the biggest misnomer that they tell everybody, that Lincoln freed the slaves. Again, history across time gets transformed, it gets manipulated. And I say black story gets raped. It's changed up so much. And there's a lot of mistruths when it comes to our story, or just ignored. And then when you learn the truths, it affects everybody, black and white and all Americans. And I think once we start to uncover, we can recover and move forward together if that's so be it, God's plan. But I'm glad to get an awakening to learn more about our story and our people as I've had my couple of years on this planet. But today it's all about the Black condition, and that's why we want to talk. And we're going to have a couple more conversations about it. I got a couple of guests here today who are going to have the conversation about the Black condition. And the first person I'd like to introduce to come on is no stranger to King Talk Tuesday. He's a pastor. He stands out there in the streets making noise, fighting each and every day for stand up to violence, guns, and partner up with Guns Down and Life's Up to do all they can to deter gun violence in the city of New York, and especially in the borough of the Bronx. I want everyone to welcome back to King Talk Tuesday, our good Pastor Jay Gooden Sr. Come on out here, Pastor Gooden. How are you doing, brother, man?
Doing great tonight, Andy. Great to be with you. Listen, I listened to you talk about team, and I'm great. I'm glad to be a part of the King team. The King Dream Team. I was just blessed by what you was teaching with our young people, because I think it's so important and it's so apropos that they know the history that we came from. So many of our youth are not, in school, so they don't know the history. But that's great that you was able to share that, especially with the young man that's 92, that's also a alumni of DeWitt Clinton.
Yeah.
which is my school. So, for all you Evander Child Knights out there, thank God for Clinton. But thank you for having us on tonight. Thank you for having us on.
Well, I appreciate you joining, and I'm looking forward to what you're going to share with our viewers this evening. Our next guest we want to bring in is another no stranger to King Talk Tuesday, but packs a wallop when it comes to wisdom and flavor and flowetry when he speaks. And I'm so grateful to know him, a sharp brother who's got it going on. Minister Kwame Thompson, join us today. Come on here, brother Kwame. How you doing, good man?
Praise him. Good day. I'm feeling great. Again, thankful for being a part of King Talk and what you bring to light. I like that last part. They said we'll be in the dark, man. You bringing that light to that darkness. So I'm happy to be a part of this and be with my big brother, Pastor Jay Gooden Sr.
Well, thank you. Thank you to both of you. And to my viewers, I must apologize. Gma, Deborah Nelson, who was scheduled to be on, she's having some technical difficulties. They're trying to clear that up, so hopefully she'll be able to join the conversation. And also our Commissioner of Cultural Affairs, Lori Combo, who I also serve with in the New York City Council. She's having some internal structures challenges over on her end. She called to apologize, but she's hopes to rectify them that she can be a part of talking about Black culture and art on next week's show if doable. So much love to both of them. So brothers, we just got to hold it down till our sisters come into the room and clean up our mess, as they do a lot. So before I go into the conversation of the Black condition, one of the things I do ask when we first had this conversation last week, I'm going to go to you, Pastor Good, and I want you to give the people who are viewing your credentials. What makes you qualified to even talk about the Black condition?
Because I'm a Black man in a Black county, in a Black society, and we have all faced some type of even racial prejudices, and I call it implicit biases that we all have faced, and some of us have. Matter of fact, I will say all of us have. And being a Black man, it's not an easy thing. One of the things that's really got me concerned, Andy, is what I'm seeing that's happening even in Florida, where they don't want to teach about the Black history, to know where we come from. That's why I'm so blessed to have somebody such as yourself that's sharing this with our young people. They need to know where we came from, that we can understand where we need to go. We've had so many obstacles that have faced us, but obstacles that were meant to stop us actually became our stepping stones. What was meant to keep us down just enhanced our creativity. I often say this in the church, and I use this in Black History Month. When the masters and the slave masters, they gave us the guts of chickens. We put some flour on it and fried them, make some gizzards.
That's right.
They gave us the guts of inside of pigs. We put them in a pot, boiled them, and made some chitlins. So we have always been able to overcome. But being a Black man in America, when you're looked at differently from a perspective of people that look at you on a different level. But I'm so grateful that God have allowed us. Even Martin Luther King said that he had the dream. We know that dream has not fully been fulfilled as of yet. But I thank God that we're not where we used to be. And that's why I'm glad to see Minister Kwame on here tonight, because we're out here trying to also help our Black community, to let them know that we have to lift our own selves up too, because sometimes we're not going to get the help that we need.
Thank you. You know, we've been breezing and going through the day, and actually we're at halftime of King Talk Tuesday, and I'm gonna pose that same question to you, Mr. Kwame. But you know, when halftime on King Talk Tuesday, I always got to get my stretch on as a former basketball player, make sure I still can shoot the wee jump shot. But to all my viewers, well, you're tuned in to King Talk Tuesdays, the show with real views, real news, and real talk. We cover so many topics, whether it's education, spirituality, economics, Black lives, and so much more. But I always ask everyone to continue to tune in. Tell your friends and neighbor if you have a question or a thought about on King Talk Tuesdays. You can send it to kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com. Again, our email address is kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com. Or you can leave us a chat or some words of wisdom inside the message system on Facebook. But right now, we just got to take a quick break to give some of our good friends from the hip hop world. We're going into the 50th year of hip hop. So we just want to give them an opportunity to talk about the Hip Hop Museum. We'll be right back after this message.
Revolution of hip hop. Bronx Terminal Market. 610 Exterior Street. Bronx, New York. Tuesday through Sunday. Pull up.
The Golden Era, 1986 through 1990.
And we're back. And we're going to have to take another break because one of our friends, who's been a great supporter of King Talk, Eastchester Jeep, who's done such wonderful things in making sure they get people to travel around. If you need a good vehicle, they're the place to go. So I promised them when I spoke to Brother Perez today, they said, hey, listen, King, we got all these Durangos out here, so people need to come on over and buy some. So let's give a little word and give them a little time to say what they need to say from our friends from Eastchester Jeep.
Hi, Frank Perez here from Eastchester Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. It's our Durangos Must Go inventory sell-off. Over 145 Dodge Durangos, all trims, all options, all colors, all must go. The all-wheel drive Durango has it all. Style, comfort, cutting-edge technology, and loaded with safety features. Get up to $2,750 bonus cash and even make no payments for 90 days. It's our Durangos Must Go inventory sell-off. Eastchester Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Pay the least in the East.
Oh, yeah, you pay the least in the East. I want to give a shout out before I go to Minister Kwame to Yamaya Maxey, who's saying to you guys, both you guys are awesome. I want to thank you for her tuning in and giving us, like she got a scripture there, 3227 going on. So thank you for that, Sister Maxey. Also, Brother Joseph Tillman, who's chiming in and talking about history, true Black leaders. So I guess he's referring to you two brothers as Black history leaders. And we say thank you, Brother Tillman, for that. And then we do have someone says they definitely going to the museum. Is that Sister Max again? Yes, she said she's going to the museum in Virginia this week. All right, God bless. And then we have Della Burgess who said, King Dream Team. I guess, Pastor Gooden, you resonated with that one. She likes that. She likes it. So, yeah. So we're back. We probably have about 25 minutes. And when we talking about the Black condition, it's something that's so serious, so complicated, but necessarily so real. But not only for Black America, for white America, because as much as Black Americans have been lied to, white Americans have been lied to as well. So talk to us, Minister Kwame. What qualifies you to even talk about the Black condition?
Well, just to start off, just being a Black man, like my big brother, Pastor Jay Gooden just said, but also my experience and my time being here and being a Black man on both sides of the spectrum, both walks. Being one at one point in time, being a part of the problem, being an angry Black man, and then being converted and changed into one of peace. But I think most of all is just my experience of just listening and observing the conditions around us as Black people and seeing how that looks and what we can do about it. And I think what's encouraging and that gives me hope, even in the time where it might look helpless, is talking to some of our young brothers and sisters and realizing that they're not all lost, and they have a voice, and they're about action. And seeing like what you did with YEP, getting out this information that they can build upon and feel good about themselves and look at themselves in the mirror and have some self-worth and some value. I think those are the things that connect me to speaking about this Black experience. You know, coming from a place where me and Pastor Gooden right now, doing the work to try to reduce the gun violence in the community by mediations and working with the highest risk individuals most likely to be shot or shoot someone, but coming from a place where I was one of them once, and by the grace of God, turned my life around. So I represent change and hope in that change. And the same way I know that I was able to change, I know that those around us have been changing and can change. And I see it looking brighter, the Black condition here in America actually becoming a brighter picture, and then you're looking for a brighter day. So I'm excited about that and what I'm seeing day to day, interacting with our youth.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that answer. Really appreciate that.
And can I just add something, Mandy?
Please do.
Listen, because you know what Kwame just reminded me of. We had an event today at Jacoby Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Gun Violence Survivors Awareness Week. And to hear some of the young Black brothers testify about how they had been shot, but now their lives have been transformed and changed, to be able to tell somebody else that God turned their lives, and they all, it was one key component there. They all mentioned God.
That's right.
Even though I don't know if they go to church or not, you know, but we are the church. As I often tell folk, it's not about your church affiliation, but it's about your relationship with Christ. And these young men shared their testimony about how they, you know, was shot, and some of them were shooters, but
right.
Now their lives have been transformed. And so we're grateful to see that even in our Black community, through the hard work of Jacoby Hospital, Stand Up to Violence, and our other, as you said, Guns Down, Life Up, and different other snug sites and the crisis management teams, that young Black people are being able to turn their lives around. And that's Absolutely. A blessing all in itself. Because when we often say that if Black lives really matter, we have to stop killing each other. And I'm a proponent of that, and that's been my message, you know. So I'm grateful today. I was really blessed today.
So I want to talk to both of you. Are do a lot of work when it comes to as violence interrupters on the streets. But I want to talk to you a little bit more about how does the economic conditions for the Black family have an impact on how our neighborhoods are looking today.
Go ahead, Kwame.
Well, I mean, right out the gate, you know, the economics is key, right? Lack of economics limits the opportunities for that family, for that youth, that child in that home, and until that improves and they get better education and better employment opportunities and better training to pursue these different careers, that's always going to be something that continues to destroy our communities, right? So the economic system is definitely something we look to, and we try to prepare our young people through like the employment readiness programs and financial literacy, and teaching them how to start growing their credit and understanding the value of money, because we come from a place where even when we obtain money fast and illegally, we don't even value it, right? So we do it and we go right back. So we're trying to educate them on how to invest in their communities and show them that it can be done. I opened up a non-for-profit right in Soundview in our community called Write Your Way Out. And in there, we offer these different trainings and teaching components and workshops to teach them how to improve that economic situation. And also what's key, we connect the dots to the gun violence in the community that is taking them economic and finances out of the community. You know, we let them know that one homicide a year and a half ago was $500,000 taken out of the community. Today, one homicide, it's $1 million lost in that community that can be going towards resources and community centers and non-for-profits building up and serving our community. So it's a big deal, and we have to really start facing it head on and coming up with solutions to change that whole economic system around.
So now both of you deal with a lot of the Black condition that is with gun violence, young brothers and sisters who are struggling. How can you, what can you say to the Black condition of the young brother or young sister who's on the other side of the street?
What side are we talking?
Well, we got those who are on the side of the street that who are because of conditions, bad economic conditions, poverty, that they make decisions based in that realm. Then we have our young people, our black brothers and sisters who are not living in that reality, but still because of the black condition, whether it's spirituality, economics, education, still find their way being caught in their own world of oppression in a community or in a neighborhood. Can you speak to that, as Pastor Gooden?
And sometimes it's not even the idea of us saying, well, the white man is holding us down, rather than being held down our own selves. A lot of those young people that you're saying that even go to the school, and that was a great job again that you did, you know, they're being bullied. So they're being impacted right off the bat, right off the jump when you're trying to do good. The Bible said, Apostle Paul said, when I try to do good, evil is always present. You know, so the fact of the matter is that they are being impacted sometime in that negative way. And we have a lot of our good kids, a lot of our good children, even, you know, that's being shot today and being part of the gangs because of it's something they almost have to do. They want to do the right thing, but because of the impact of the others, they have to do this just to survive. And these are the times that we live in. I'll never forget, Andy. I was in a conference with Commissioner O'Connor from NYPD, and he was talking about the gangs and how some children, they have to, even when they go to school, they have to even kind of be affiliated just to survive, you know, but then they have to use the wisdom when to walk away. You know, and that's a tough situation for any child to be in. But when some of our communities, this is how they have to live. And so I'm so grateful when I hear Minister Thompson talk about his Write Your Way Out and others such as yourself that's giving back to the community, that's letting them know they can make it. They can make it. Let's be a success story. Let's not allow our communities to dictate to us, our environment to dictate to us what we can be. You know, but in other words, what we need to be instead, and that's a positive role model. And so I'm so grateful again for the role models that you guys play in our communities that affect our youth.
I'd like to add to that real brief.
Please.
First thing I want to do is commend them, right, and celebrate them and let them know that the sacrifice, although it might be difficult right now, it will pay off in the long run. You know, making that decision to go in the right direction versus going into the wrong direction. And also look to those in your community that have influence that can support your decision that you're making. Like we bring our credible messengers out there to support our young people that are doing the right thing. Let them know that we will celebrate what you're doing. We're here to help you out any way we can. So I celebrate them, man. I support them heavily. I seek them out. I look for them to give them opportunities. See, at one time, all these programs only address the young person after they got in trouble. Right. So I said I had to do something different, just like yourself, Andy King. We had to have something that can meet both sides, right? The one that's found themselves in trouble with the law and the one that is struggling to stay from crossing over into that area, and supporting them both, giving them both resources, giving them both the training and the support that they need to be successful. So again, I salute them. I celebrate them.
Right. Wow. And we was actually able, Kwame and I and our team was able to go into a school just a couple of weeks ago and to see the young people, you know, we was able to share our chants. And that blessed me when we was able to say, you know, guns down, they're saying live up. Who are we? SUV, you know, so when we can spread that positivity and plant the seed, it's up to us to be able to plant that seed in that young person's life. And so I'm certainly grateful for the role that we do play out there in our communities.
Well, speaking of planting seeds, we're going to take a break and listen to a youth program that is planting seeds to try to save some lives in today's Black condition.
The Bronx Youth Empowerment Program, YEP, is a youth organization that has served the Northeast Bronx for 17 years. During our tenure, we have provided recreational and educational forums that have nurtured the growth of many youth in the community. YEP has also serviced hundreds of youngsters around New York City. YEP's target audience is youth from the age of 11 to 18 with the goal of helping youth become productive adults. YEP provides young people with resources to explore leadership skills, community involvement, and self-development. YEP consists of weekly and bi-weekly informational sessions with guest speakers from professional, political, and entertainment arenas. Also, as a part of community involvement, YEP will host trips to a variety of venues for educational and recreational experiences. As we continue to partner with other local organizations and serve our community, we will strive to unite and develop the youth in our community. The mission of the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program is building mind, body, and community.
Powerful.
Oh yeah, and I want to thank all those young people who are dedicated. You know, we're talking about the Black condition, and the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program consists of about 25 to 26 young people. Now, we interchange, we talk with families, talk with parents, but more importantly, the dedication of the young person to say, I want to do better, I want to change. And I think I applaud both of you gentlemen, because it's just getting them in the room to escape some of the conditions that they have to endure, to help them have a paradigm shift of how they deal with them, how they address them, and how they can move. I really believe when a number of kids get out, and youth, let's not call them kids, because one director told me kids is a female goat, a child goat. So we ain't call them kids no more. Our youth, and I'm gonna say it like Cousin Vinny, the youths, not the youths, but our youth. Being able to get a hold of and hug them and give them that conversation that they're so desperately searching and need of. And NYPD said to me, we have a program that we call Connections, where we sit down with NYPD and learn the do's and don'ts, the rules and so forth. And they get their first interaction with NYPD as a positive, as a hello, as a greeting, recognizing that this officer is a brother, is a sister, is a mother, is an uncle, is a cousin. This is what these men and women in blue are, not your first encounter. Is put your hands up, get on the floor. Now your whole reality, you know, is them against us. Now recognizing that your great grandfather was a police officer, or your uncle, who you go see down south, works for the sheriff's department. So we want to make sure that young people understand that relationship that we have to have with NYPD has to be a plus for them, not a negative. And I remember they told us at One Connections, they said 10% of the people commit the crimes, but they occupy 90% of our time. I said, so that means there's 90% of the people out here doing the right thing, but we're letting the 10% occupy everything. Imagine if those gangbangers who are trying to figure out, but think about the 90% of the kids who are doing the right thing. So tell to the 10%, sorry, we don't want to roll that way. We don't want to go that way. It might be a better way to bring those 10% that are lost in search of and who are creating havoc. Maybe they can scale it back, helping to understand the condition. And I want to turn it back over to you all, because there were codes of conduct when you talk about gangs from the 70s and the 70s and the 60s, and they had codes. Now I watched today that some of our brothers out today, it's like the little kid is off limits, grandma's off limits. Today there is like the conditions is like, no, if you got it and I want it, I'll take it. And it can't work that way, because it's almost like saying, we always been told the whole statement, like, don't go to the bathroom where you eat. Well, this is what the people do today. They go to the bathroom where they eat, and they mess it up for everyone. So let's talk about, as y'all spiritual leaders, what suggestions, what hope can you offer to some of our young people and parents to understand the conditions that they're in, and how do we move where the conditions are good or the conditions are not so good?
Well, let me just, first of all, Andy, I think this is the first time that I've been on since we've had Boys to Men 3. And I think that's where it starts. Again, it's about planting that seed. And I want to commit, because our Boys to Men started on this the Dream Team King.
That's right.
King Dream Team started here during this conversation.
That's right.
And I believe that it's so productive for us and significant for us to continue to get that message out to our youth. You said something, I think I was watching the program last week. A lot of our young people that's already out there that's doing the trouble, they're not going to come into the auditorium. They're not going to come into the sit downs, but if we can, as you said, that 90%, if we can reach that 90% and save and recognize that they are significant. And if yet we got out, as Minister Thompson said, we have our credible messengers out there trying to tell the other young men, that I've been where you've been. turn your life around. You can make a difference. Be a positive role model in our communities. That's what it's going to take from us. And so we're certainly grateful to have other men. And again, all of the mentors that came into Boys to Men to be able to share their story. It has been said that a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from other mistakes. And if we can continue to share that message that these youth don't have to go down, or the youths don't have to go down the same path that we went down, that'll be a great blessing, man.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Kwame, tackle that too, because he just said it best. Some of our young people realize, and I play basketball, and we were taught, experience is the best teacher. And then as I got to play basketball with one of the camps, the guy told me, he said, no, experience is not the best teacher, but experience is a way to remember how to do things. And I try to put that together, because I say, if I keep doing something, doing it, I'll always remember how to do it. I may mess it up, but at least if I know how to do it, I'll know how to get it right. If I keep working at it, I'll remember how to do it. So when we start talking about our young people having certain experiences, as you said, a wise man learns from other experiences. And another quote I learned is one thing that the wise man knows, that he truly knows.
They don't know everything.
That he doesn't know. Exactly. So you're always ever learning. But some of our young brothers and sisters, I hear some young ladies, I know that, I got this. Come on, you're 13. You seriously, you don't know it all. You're trying to figure out your elbow from the rest of your body parts at that point in life. So take time to understand what your ancestors have gone through. The month of February has to go beyond 28 days of educating of what our great-grandfathers, the perseverance that we went through, even what the 13-year-old went through you go back 70 years from fighting and just surviving and not being able to walk in a certain community just because of the color of their skin. So I want Kwame, talk to us. What would you offer to a family today, and not the family that's way on the other side of the street, but a family who's walking in the middle of the road, of in their condition, seeing all the stuff that's not great on this side and all the stuff that's super great on this side, but they're just walking on that balance beam. What would you say to them?
Well, the first thing is, again, we have to encourage them. And I would tell that family that although, again, me and Pastor Gooden says this all the time, although it might look helpless, it's not hopeless, right? And that there are resources, there are people. I've heard that people don't care till they know you care. And we have to continue to show people that we care. And you said something about codes and ethics and all these different things. When we were coming up, it was a different hierarchy, right? Our young people don't have that. And a lot of that stopped because of the crack era, right? The crack era separated the whole hierarchy, right? It put a bunch of black men in jail, broke up families, but it also broke up that hierarchy in the streets. Before, when I was coming up, a young person just couldn't go out and sell drugs. A young person had to be brought into the game. There was somebody that ran that area, and it was 3 people in every community that kept a balance. It was the gangster, it was the pastor, and it was that police officer, that beat walker. And they all had a dialogue to keep order in that community, and we're missing that. And the only code of ethics that I hear all the time that's spread, and we have to change this narrative, is stop snitching. They forget everything else. They forget the respect of our elders and our women, our children, and all these different things. So we have to keep instilling that back into them and let them know that these are the real values that's going to uplift this village, right? Caring about somebody else, looking at your brother and sister as yourself, trying to uplift each other, stop tearing each other down. So it's a psychological game that's been so out of whack that we have to work on one individual at a time, but we have to continue, lead by example, don't give up. We have to also have empathy and listen to what's being said. A lot of times we only want to hear what we want to hear. Like what you said, a lot of people think that it's shootings every day, but the reality is it's not shootings every day, right? But we keep pushing that narrative. They say all our young people are out there with guns and gangs and this and that. The reality is they're not all out there doing that. I'll go even a step further. That same 10% that we said is causing all the trouble, there's a 10% even within the game, whereas the 90% of the people, the young people that are in the game because they had to, because they're connected to a block, to a family, to a situation, that are not causing havoc. And we got to go into that situation and try to reach them. They have leadership skills. A lot of them have so much gifts that are untapped into, that we have to be willing to step into that environment and help pull some of them out without prejudging them, right? And stop saying like, oh, in my day we did this and did that, but it's this day now that we have to be present in and start building some realities for our young people and showing them the difference. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. No one person can do it. We have to support each other in this work, other organizations, other leaders. You know, I love what you're doing, you know, because Andy, what you're doing is showing them that this wasn't just about an office, right? I believe your work elevated after the office, right? And we need to see that, right? We need to see that and continue to support each other and those things. So it's a lot of work that needs to be done, but I think collectively as a village, if we give each other the right tools, we can make a difference.
Well, my brethren, I want to thank you for those kind words. I want to thank you for your commitment to the understanding, helping improve the Black condition. Our time has expired here on King Talk, but we're going to bring this conversation back. Hopefully, Commissioner Cumbo can join us next week. And if you're gentlemen, if your schedules allow, there's some questions that have come in, but the clock, as Carol Burnett says, the clock on the wall says it's time to go. I'm so glad we had this time together. But I want to thank you, brothers. I love you much, man. I'll be in contact. And remember, I know, Kwame, you can participate. Pastor Gooding, you have to go to the store because it's Afro Day on Friday. And I
got that.
I was concerned about that.
I gotta pick it up.
Yeah, figure it out.
Hey, Andy, can I just close with this? Something I shared Sunday in the church.
Please
what
do.
Fannie Lou Hamer said. She said, you can pray until you faint, but unless you get up and do something about it, God is not going to put it in your lap. We have to be about action. Faith without works is dead.
There you go.
And I want to celebrate your YEP. I want you to get them 25 and bring them over to Right Your Way Out so we can celebrate them, do something nice with them.
I love it. We'll make it happen. God bless. I'll be talking with both of you after we finish. Stay tuned. Stay in the back studio so we can wrap it up. But as we always do on King Talk Tuesdays, we end every show with a scripture. And tonight's scripture reads from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 and 8. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, do not behave itself unseemly, seek not her own, is not easily provoked, think of no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth. Beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Charity never faileth, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. If no one told you today, God loves you and so do I. Your friend, your brother, and your neighbor, Andy King. Peace.